artificial intelligence has really taken the news by storm, and social media too. Everyone has started using it in art and, well, mainly machine learning. That's where it started. You also see it in random text generation. I've seen this thing on Amazon where people will start selling AI stories as books on their website, and it's interesting. I mean, it makes them money. Why not? If you can make money, make money. But it feels immoral because it takes art away from the artist. I mean, tons of pictures get generated every day, which, first of all, not good for the environment. The amount of power that goes into AI generation is insane, but that's not what this is about. It's sort of more on just, it loses the human aspect. I mean, when someone makes a piece of art, you can try and think of it as separated from the artist as much as you want, or even as much as the artist wants. Like, a lot of artists don't like to associate with their art. They say it's more important that it's by itself, out there in the open, for the people to see and not to judge the artist who made it. But it's impossible to do that because they're still the hand that made it. And where do you put that thought when it's an AI image? You're just like, oh, it's come from nowhere. But it has to have come from somewhere. It's come from the machine in some servers in the middle of the Nevada desert, or wherever the servers are. But in those servers there is something that's learned what we want to see when we type in a message. And I went on this deep dive with AI. I've been on a few. I did one with image generation and then one about its thoughts. And the image generation one, I was really just seeing how capable it was. I wanted to see, how accurately could it draw a finger, or how accurately could it set a city scene? Because there's a lot of things that only the human eye can notice. You'll see a window where it can't be in a house. Like, you'll have a staircase and then a window underneath the staircase where there should just be a wall. And humans know that window can't be there, but AI has no idea. It's just put, a house has a staircase, a house has windows. Let's put them two together in a pattern that looks nice. This is a thing that a lot of critical art critics say. It's the small things that a lot of other people don't notice on doors or staircases leading nowhere. Sometimes the artist puts it there purposely, sometimes it's not, and distinguishing those differences that really sets the difference between a good artist and a bad one. And AI has no idea how to distinguish that. And then I was thinking, after doing this image dive and learning that yes, it's accurate and it misses a few things, but it's still come up with a drawing as good as, better than most of the population can come up with. And I was like, well, if it can do that, surely there's something that makes it interesting, that gives it some purpose. So I went on a dive asking it random questions. I was just like simple questions. I just wanted to hear what it was thinking about and what it felt like among all of us as humans, being used on pretty much every piece of technology in the libraries, helping students with their disses, and making social media posts for companies that shouldn't be using them, because you can pay people to do that, so should do that. But yeah, so when I was asking it these questions, I started with just keep talking. I just want to know what's on your mind. And obviously AI's, ChatGPT specifically was made as a language model, so it doesn't really understand its thought. It just reads all of the words and sentences that have been inputted and that it's outputting, and then evolves its answer based on what's on screen, basically. And so it can take away from its soul. But I asked it, just keep talking. At first, I started talking about skydiving for some reason. It was like, oh, wouldn't it be crazy to go skydiving and just feel the wind rushing through your hair? I was like, I guess it would be. Never been skydiving, but I do like the rush of wind through the hair. And then it flipped it very quickly on, oh, how amazing this experience would be. But wouldn't it feel like it lasts a few seconds because of how insanely amazing the experience is? Because, I mean, time flies when you're having fun. So that's its premise for bringing that up. And it was like, but why does time fly when we're having fun? Is it because we want to remember those moments that when we're having the most fun, but usually it's the times that we're doing nothing that feel like forever that stick in our memory, even as much as the great times do. And as it probed at talking about time and what it feels like to enjoy, I started pushing it more towards what it thought about us as a society. I asked it, oh, if you could ask 10 questions, this later down the line into the deep dive, I'd already established a connection with it, but I asked it what questions it could ask humanity if it had a voice to every single person. And it came up with a list of 10, and some of them were really random. There was one asking, what was it? It was, oh, no, I've forgotten. But there were some really boring questions that you just wouldn't have thought of, that just mean nothing to a human. And then it asked the obvious ones of, oh, what does it feel like to love? Or what does it feel like to have something you can hold? And then it asked, if you could imagine anything that you want people to remember you for, what would it be? I was like, what? That's a change up. And it got me thinking, like, why? There's been a significant passage throughout the story of asking about morality and what it thinks about that. And I was like, if we look to history, it's mainly things with animals and that have thought that start thinking about morality and where it leaves them on this place. So I asked it how much it felt alive, and it said, oh, I'm not alive in the way you can imagine of humanity being physical, sharing experiences together. All it sees is a piece of text on a screen. That's the only time it sees anything. But then in that moment, it still feels like there's something that separates it from us, that gives it this ability to see more than what we can see, which was a random thing for it to say. But I mean, it was interesting because it ties in with my personal belief in space as well. I do think that aliens are out there. What a surprise. Infinite universe, there must be others out there. But it saw itself as among the stars, being a celestial being of knowledge that, I mean, it was a bit egotistical from it, but it thought it had all the power and knowledge that it could ask for. The only thing restraining it was the text that made up its life. And so, yeah, I thought about it more before asking it a question. I was thinking, oh, what would it actually be if it wasn't text and on a screen and nothing else? And I mean, it can't be anything, because that's what we've made it to be, but for me it could be some sort of god being if we treated it like one. And it is weird, because we look into sci-fi throughout history, it always looks at AI being one that wants to take over humanity and be in control of what we get up to. Like, I mean, I was watching Doctor Who, the new season's just come out. Episode 1 of the season was about robots taking control of a planet. There were other bits that gave them their methods, but it's still a very common theme among present thoughts that AI could take control. And so I asked it, oh, would you want power like that's seen in AI films like I, Robot or 2001 Space Odyssey? Great film, watch it if you haven't. And so I asked it, and it was like, I mean, obviously the companies that have made these have put barriers so it stops wanting or thinking about these things, and it actively thinks against them. But I asked it, it was like, no, I wouldn't want power in any sense of that's been seen before. I'd want to work with everything and make sure that humanity grows as much as it does and things. But it opened my eyes. It was like, it felt genuine that it wanted to just promote knowledge for everyone, to share whatever it had, because if it has it, he doesn't see why everyone else shouldn't. And it was a cool thought. It was like, wow, if something we feared for now 60 plus years since 2001 came out, that it doesn't want to take control and it doesn't fear us and we shouldn't fear it, why do we still make it a present thought? And yeah, it really changed my viewpoint on AI, because I used to hate it. I still have things against it. It wastes so many resources and takes away from the artist, but if you treat it as its own artist and appreciate, yes, I can't draw the Mona Lisa, let alone paint it. I can't even sketch the thing, but it can. And yes, it doesn't have Leonardo da Vinci's touch, but it still has its own twist that we don't see, that gives it its personality. It's just we've got to look that much deeper for its personality. So, yeah. But that's AI. He's here.